I'm in the section of Solzhenitsyn's Gulag Archipelago where we're talking about various strategies of interrogation used by the Soviet police state. And one of them, so Solzhenitsyn, this is number 8 on his list, and I'm going through the list, but not quite in order. I'm not covering every single one. This is called the lie. And Solzhenitsyn says, we lambs were forbidden to lie, but the interrogator could tell all the lies he felt like. Now, it should be emphasized that this ability to lie is not a unique characteristic of the Soviet Union or the Soviet police state. It applies to us in America right now. If you're brought in for questioning by the cops or by interrogators of any sort, they are free to lie to you. They can say things like, well, we have your DNA evidence on the scene. And even though they don't, they're using it as a ruse to get you to confess. Now, normally, if you did it, and maybe the ruse works, and maybe that should be permitted under some circumstances, but there are also people who, when they are trapped in this way, will confess to things that they didn't do. And that's the fallacy here. That's the problem here, which is that when you allow the authorities to lie, you create all kinds of problems with the judicial system. Here's Solzhenitsyn again. He could confront us with as many documents as he chose, bearing the forged signatures of our kinfolk and friends, and it would be just another skillful interrogation technique. So think about this. They're producing a document signed by your wife saying you did this, and you're like so demoralized, you'll almost say anything. That's the point. They want you to say anything, and that's the way in which lies are deployed to get you to lie against your own interest. Intimidation through enticement and lies was the fundamental method for bringing pressure on the relatives of the arrested person when they were called in to give live testimony. Hey, if you don't tell us such and such, whatever's being asked, it's going to be the worse for him. So you're not under arrest, he's under arrest. But if you don't tell us what we want to hear, he's going to be worse off. Now, that in itself is a lie because he's going to be worse off anyway. In fact, the reason we want you to tell us this stuff is so we can then use it against him. But nevertheless, we're playing on your feelings in the situation, so you're like, oh, I better try to make life easier for him, and you're actually not. You're making life worse. Signing this paper is the only way you can save him. Same thing. They're actually using what you sign to make the guy's life worse, but they're telling you, listen, if you sign, you're really gonna be helping this guy. Not true. Now, Solzhenitsyn now goes into ways in which relatives and even children are deployed against the defendant in very strategic ways. And again, we're describing something that may seem in a little extreme the way it's used in the Soviet Union, but the same thing is done even now by our emerging police state. It's just done in a more subtle way. So let's go to Solzhenitsyn. Your wife has already been arrested, but her fate depends on you. So you're under arrest, and they tell you, hey, listen, we also got your wife, and she's being questioned in the next room. Just listen. And then writes Solzhenitsyn, and through the wall you can actually hear a woman weeping and screaming. And then Solzhenitsyn says, after all, they sound alike. You're hearing it through a wall. You're under terrific strain and not in a state to play the expert on voice identification. He goes, sometimes they play a recording of the voice of a typical wife. And he says, and then without fakery, they actually show her to you through a glass door as she walks along in silence, her head bent in grief. Your own wife in the corridors of state security, you have destroyed her by your stubbornness. She has already been arrested. Then says Solzhenitsyn, in reality, she hasn't. He goes, in actual fact, she has simply been summoned in connection with some insignificant procedural question. She's sent through the corridor at just the right moment after being told, hey, listen, don't raise your head, because if you raise your head, you're going to be kept here. And so she walks through. It's a completely staged event that is done to do what? To break down your morale. So here we get to what police states are about. They're about turning the whole country into a prison. They're turning everyone into a prisoner or a potential prisoner. They're breaking down your resistance, which is another way of saying they're breaking down your independent spirit. They're breaking down your individuality. And to do this, says Solzhenitsyn, they rely on a sort of plethora, a wide range of techniques that include, here's number 10, sound effects. All kinds of weird sounds that are supposed to dizzy you, frustrate you, exhaust you. And remember, they're counting on you to be in an already depleted condition. Tickling. Solzhenitsyn even has a little section, it's just a few lines long, where they use a feather to tickle you. And again, the idea here is to disrupt you, to put you in a situation where you feel that the world has turned surreal on you. And think of what it means to be tickled. You're sort of out of control. You don't even control your own emotions. You're laughing, you're giggling, you're twisting, and it's all involuntarily. In a sense, what the police state is doing is not just dehumanizing you, but turning you into an object, and this is its primary goal. Mike Lindell just keeps on introducing great deals. He's featuring the new My Towels. Now, save 50% on the 6-piece towel set. The regular price is $59.96, but now for a limited time, $29.98 with promo code Dinesh. Debbie and I have Mike's My Towels all over the house. We love them for ourselves. We also like to get them as Christmas presents, so there's an idea for you. My Towels 6-piece set includes 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, 2 washcloths. The long staple length of the shipper cotton fibers makes these towels very soft because of the long fibers. They wrap around each other more easily, creating a very smooth and soft fabric that's soft to the touch without the kind of lotiony feel. And they're also super absorbent. So take advantage of the 50% off on the 6-piece towel set. Call 800-876-0227. The number again, 800-876-0227. Or just go to mypillow.com. Make sure to use the promo code DINESH Dinesh.